Okay. Never. I'm just kidding. I don't like streaming. Okay, so we're gonna start right at 5:30. Right at 5:30. She could take that on. Yeah, okay.
This one's going to be removed,
Oh,
and I'm just going to say, council members, the administration has requested 3I be removed from the agenda.
are they gonna move it?
on.
Is it like moved to a different
So,
date or something?
they still have time, because
Okay.
it's not till
Right,
the
till
29th,
October.
and they're still trying to get liability insurance.
Okay.
So they don't want to approve it until they
Right,
can get
until
that
that's,
certificate.
yeah.
So I'm going to do 3H, and then when I get to 3I, I'm just going to say administration has requested this item be removed from the agenda, and then just keep
Okay.
going on.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, sounds good, thanks. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Are there any special intentions? I actually have a special intention. I just want to mention and ask for prayers for the family of Councilman Wilmot. His beloved mother passed away last week, and so our prayers are with him and his family. Okay, I'd like to call Pastor Laura Stevenson from Christ the King Lutheran Church. Let's all stand. Would you please lead us in prayer?
Sure. I invite you to join me in prayer if it's right for you. Let us pray. Gracious God, bless our city and make it a place of safety for all people, rich and poor. Give us grace to work for cities where neighborhoods remain vibrant and whole, where the lost and forgotten in society are supported, and where the arts flourish. Make the diverse fabric of the city a delight to all who live and visit here, and a strong bond uniting people around common goals for the good of all. Through Jesus Christ, our Savior. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Councilmember Dunn, would you please lead us in the pledge?
Madam Chairman, you have a quorum. In accordance with Council Resolution Number B14550, please be advised that all cellular telephones and/or other devices of this nature must be deactivated or silenced throughout the council meeting. We have correspondence, reports from the mayor, CAO, or department heads.
Mayor Glazer.
Thank you. A couple of little announcements is what it's going to be. The Office of Motor Vehicles in Rivertown will finally be open to the public Monday, October 10th, which is this coming Monday. So, it's been anticipated for a couple of weeks now, but they finally pulled the plug and are opening to the public. Also, on November 2nd, the city's clerk of court and mayor's courtroom will move out of Macy's down here into Rivertown in the exhibition hall. So that's going to be the Wednesday, being November 1st is a holiday, city holiday. We'll open Wednesday, November 2nd. Asked Councilman Brennan if he'd like to share the news, but I know it was already shared throughout a bunch of media outlets. The new bridge on West Loyola at Joe Yanni opened yesterday. And I know it's open because I rode across it today. Had to go drop something off and decided to make a detour to see how it looks, and it looks very nice. Also, in the next few weeks, 2 road projects will begin on Williams Boulevard. One is an asphalt overlay between Veterans Boulevard and 33rd Street. So it's pretty much the I-10 interchange all the way up to the past Lamarck Ford to the next red light. The second one is construction of new turn lanes and channelizing islands between 38th Street and 40th Street. They're being added. DOTD is doing it, eliminating the cut. You no longer be able to go across Williams Boulevard at these 3 intersections due to the relatively high crash data through the years that they've been gathering. So I know the city has made a couple of requests over the last couple of, I guess, years that were all denied by DOTD because it's a safety issue. So that'll begin anticipated in the next couple of weeks. And lastly, like I said last time, Saturday, October 15th, the city is holding a Hispanic Heritage Celebration here in Rivertown. This free event will include food, music, and activities. Begins at 5 p.m. here in the park right behind this building. And that's all I got for this meeting.
Thank you, Mayor Glazer. Any comments? Okay, see none.
Under the consent agenda, we have item 1, approval of minutes, the regular council meeting of September 16, 2022. Item 2 is approval of alcoholic beverage permit applications. We have none. Item 3 is approval of bingo and public gathering applications. Item 3A is application number 2288-22, Divine Mercy Catholic Church to hold a public gathering on October 7, 2022 from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. on October 8, 2022 from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. and October 9, 2022 from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. for the purpose of an annual school parish fair at 4337 Salentini Parkway. Item 3B is application number 2289-22, the City of Kenner to hold a public gathering on October 22, 2022 from 3 p.m. to 10 p.m. for the purpose of a trunk or treat at Muspertolino Playground. Item 3C is application number 2292-22, Williams Boulevard Baptist Church to hold a public gathering on October 23, 2022 from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. for the purpose of a trunk or treat at 3000 Williams Boulevard. Item 3D is application number 2293-22, the residents of Cotton Bayou Lane to hold a public gathering on October 31st, 2022 from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. for the purpose of an annual Halloween block party on Cotton Bayou Lane. Item 3E is application number 2294-22, First Baptist Church of Kenner to hold a public gathering on October 31st, 2022, from 5:30 PM to 8:30 PM for the purpose of a trunk or treat at 1313 Clay Street. Item 3F is application number 2295-22, the City of Kenner to hold a public gathering on October 15, 2022, from 5 PM to 9 PM for the purpose of a Kenner Hispanic Heritage Fair at Kenner Heritage Park. Item 3G is application 2296-22, Driftwood Park Civic Association to hold a public gathering on October 15, 2022, from 5 PM to 8 PM for the purpose of a Halloween gathering at Galatas Playground. Item 3H is application number 2297-22, the City of Kenner to hold a public gathering on November 6, 2022, from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. for the purpose of a food truck festival at Lake Town. Item 3I is being removed at the request of the administration. Item 3J is application number 2299-22, the Our Lady of Perpetual Help School to hold a public gathering on October 28, 2022, from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. for the purpose of a trunk or treat at 531 Williams Boulevard. Councilman, that concludes the consent agenda.
Thank you. A motion by Councilmember Wilmot, seconded by Councilmember McKinney. Council members, we're going to change to the way we vote a little. So all in favor, say aye.
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 Motion passes 7-0. Under the public appearance agenda, we have item 8, public hearings and final passage. We have none. Item 9 is ordinances for the sale, purchase, transfer, lease, and/or alienation of immovable property. We have none. Item 10 is opening of bids. We have none. Item 11 is reclassification of zoning for final passage. We have none. Item 12 is other ordinances for final passage. We have none. Item 13 is resolutions and motions by council members. Item 13A is a resolution repealing resolution number B16501 adopted June 19, 2014, and requiring that all financial settlements or compromises arising from any agreement in excess of $25,000 against the City of Kenner be authorized by the majority of the council.
Motion by Councilman Brennan, seconded by Councilmember Brannigan. Councilman Brennan, would you like to comment on it?
Thank you, Council Chair. Yes, I just would like to refer this to our acting city attorney, Mr. Power, for a brief explanation. Thank you.
The resolution being repealed and replaced by the one on your agenda was adopted in 2014 and contained 3 provisions. The resolution contained, the first provision was that the city council be notified of all lawsuits against the city within 30 days. It's my understanding that that has never been done, and that there was really no need to do it. Unless the council wishes to continue requiring that, we'll start doing it, but it has not been done for some time, my understanding. The second provision in the previous resolution is that there be a line item in the budget ordinance identifying a self-insurance fund or a source available to pay judgments and claims. It's my understanding that there is a line item, a loss line item in the budget that generally does not have a lot of money in it, but is funded as required to satisfy judgments. And the third provision is the one that we were really looking to replace, and that was to replace the $5,000 limit for council approval of settlements, to raise it to $25,000. And it will eliminate a lot of the executive sessions that we've had to call since I've been here to deal with smaller, what we consider to be small claims. That's it.
Thank you, Attorney. Does anyone have any questions? Okay. Thank you. Council members, all in favor say aye.
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 Motion
Opposed?
passes 7-0. Item 14 is items removed from the consent agenda. We have none. Item 15 is acceptance of contracts and similar matters approved by the mayor. Item 15A is summary ordinance number 13,068. An ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from Gill's Carpet Sales Incorporated to supply carpet tiles as needed in accordance with sealed bid number 22-6689 and an amount not to exceed $75,000 annually for the Department of General Services.
Good. Motion by Councilmember LaHatt, seconded by Councilmember Dunn. Council members, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Motion passes 7-0. Item 15B is summary ordinance number 13,069. An ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from Vulcan Incorporated to supply reflective sheeting in accordance with sealed bid number 22-6688 in an amount not to exceed $30,000 annually for the Department of General Services.
Motion by Councilmember Schwartz, seconded by Councilmember McKinney. Any questions? Yes, Councilmember Wilmot.
Yes, if we can have somebody explain the purpose of this?
Yeah,
Mr. Glorioso?
this is a renewal of an annual contract for the traffic shop for signs.
Signs, okay.
Yeah, it's reflective sheeting at the stop signs and all that's made on.
Okay, that answers my question, thank you.
You know, Liz isn't here, but she gave me notes. She said this is an annual contract. There were 2 responsive bidders, same cap as the last contract, and we spent $3,000 throughout the life of the previous one-year contract. So,
Perfect, thank you. That's all.
Great. Thank you. Any other questions? Seeing none, council members, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Motion passes 7-0. Item 16 is ordinances and resolutions in summary for first reading. Item 16A is an ordinance approving agreement with H&O Investments LLC to provide grass cutting services on an as-needed basis and an amount not to exceed $20,000 for the Department of Inspection and Code Enforcement. Item 16B is an ordinance approving change orders 1 through 3 final to the agreement with NOLA Painting and Finishing LLC dated September 12, 2022 regarding the roofing at 624 Williams Boulevard, increasing the agreement amount by $5,525 for the total amount of $32,517 and accepting the agreement as complete. Item 16C is an ordinance approving change order number 1, final to the agreement with NOLA Painting and Finishing LLC dated September 14, 2022 regarding the roofing at Rivertown Church, increasing the agreement amount by $450 for a total amount of $13,316 and accepting the agreement as complete. Item 16D is an ordinance ratifying the emergency purchase of mobile radios from Broadband Communications Incorporated in the amount of $5,238.40 for the Kenner Fire Department. Item 16E is an ordinance approving cooperative endeavor agreement with the Louisiana Department of Treasury for state and local government entities in an amount not to exceed $529,362 for the Kenner Police Department. Item 16F is an ordinance approving an agreement with the Louisiana Department of Treasury for state aid to local government entities in an amount not to exceed $250,000 for the Kenner Police Department. Item 16G is an ordinance authorizing the use of Louisiana state contract numbers 4400005417, 4400018761, and 4400002205 with Vehicle Parts and Equipment Incorporated to furnish and install light bars and sirens in an amount not to exceed $100,000 for the Departments of Fleet Management, Police, and Fire. Item 16H is an ordinance authorizing a cost per copy lease agreement with U.S. Copy Incorporated for photocopy, fax, printing, equipment, maintenance, parts, labor, and supplies for a term of 5 years for the Kenner Police Department. Item 16I is an ordinance approving a cooperative endeavor agreement with the Parish of Jefferson for construction of the Lake Town Boat Launch Rehab and Marsh Creation Project. Item 16J is an ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from Polydyne Incorporated for an agreement to provide polymer on an as-needed basis in accordance with seal bid number 22-6690 and an amount not to exceed $133,300 annually for the Department of Wastewater. Item 16K is an ordinance approving a cooperative endeavor agreement with East Bank Little League for use of baseball fields at Butch Dewey Playground. Item 16L is an ordinance authorizing the Kenner Police Department to hold a public auction on November 17, 2022 to sell surplus movable property no longer needed for public purpose and setting the terms and disposition of the proceeds from the sale. Item 16M is an ordinance approving an agreement with Pivotal GR Solutions LLC and an amount not to exceed $70,000. Item 16N is an ordinance approving amendment number 2 to the agreement with Janssen Adjusters International LLC to assist in the preparation, presentation, and adjustment of all applicable claims for the loss and damage caused by Hurricane Ida, increasing the not-to-exceed amount from $750,000 to a new not-to-exceed amount of $1,250,000 and amending the scope to include all City of Kenner properties and adjusters' travel time. Item 16O is an ordinance approving an amendment to the lease agreement between the City of Kenner and LCMC Health Holdings Incorporated. Item 16P is an ordinance amending the 2017-2018 capital budget to reallocate $86,538 from funds received for KTV studio equipment with TriCaster to provide funding for the Department of Communications. Item 16Q is an ordinance amending ordinance number 11,062 adopted by the City of Kenner on March 17, 2016, entitled Unified Development Code of the City of Kenner, more particularly amending and rezoning Lot A, Square 111-B, University City Subdivision from C2 General Commercial to SI Special Industrial, and directing, authorizing, and empowering the planning director for the City of Kenner to alter and amend the official zoning map of the City of Kenner. Item 17 is reports from the council and/or special committees.
Yes, Councilman Mahat?
I just want to remind everyone, proud to say on October 18th, the groundbreaking of the Treasure Chest, the new Treasure Chest Casino, and the actual spot it's going to go in that parking lot is proceeding that morning, so the actual site will be under development and its construction that date. The other thing you're seeing across the street behind Pontchartrain Center is the parking lot, which is almost done, which is going to be the temporary parking for the patrons of the current boat, but will be the eventual parking for the employees of Treasure Chest. So proud to say that's occurring.
Councilman Brennan?
Thank you, Councilwoman McKinney. Just a reminder about the Divine Mercy Fair this weekend. Music, a lot of good food, a lot of good entertainment, so please make it out there Saturday or Sunday. Thank you.
And I would also like to yield to the chief. I know he has something to say about the police department.
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody who supports. Sunday, we had to kick off to the National Night Out Against Crime. It was a huge success. We couldn't have done it without the mayor, the administration, the council, the support. It was at the Pontchartrain Center parking lot. The parking lot was cleaned up. Everything was trimmed up and made nice by the city. And of course, your attendance meant the world to us, so thank you for your support. And that was the kickoff to Tuesday night, which was the big, the actual night out against crime. And the city attended over 31 block parties. And I know I saw all y'all at those, but one in particular, the one right here in South Kenner, I know I joined Councilwoman Dunn and Mayor Glazer in thanking the Smith family, who have been doing this for over 25 years. It's going to be important that another group takes the mantle on that, but we certainly want to thank the Smith family for the commitment over 25 years and probably one of the largest get-togethers in the community. So thank you all for your support.
Thank you, Chief. Councilman Brannigan?
Yes, I want to recognize Melody Lawson, who is from the Westwood, Chateau Terre, Holly Heights subdivision. I had redone that corner with a new sign and gardens and lighting up different things through my capital account. And basically, kind of got messed up, so we redid the gardens and let them know that the city does not maintain gardens because, one, we don't have enough Parkway employees to be able to do that. So whenever we do a garden, change a sign, update it, it becomes a civic association or the residents' responsibility. And Ms. Lawson has really stepped to the plate. That subdivision, those three subdivisions do not have or did not have an active civic association, but basically she is getting this thing rolling again. And if you go down West Esplanade and you look on the corner of Chateau and West Esplanade, and then you look on the corner of Antoine Watney and West Esplanade in front of Cain's Brulee, they are decorated to a T for the holidays. The gardens are straight, and they understand that they are going to be keeping the gardens up to make sure that everything looks good. I also want to thank Terry Rudnitsky from Cain's Brulee because she actually went out and helped the Holly Heights subdivision, Holly Heights, Chateau Terre, Westwood people the other morning. They put signs out, we're going to be decorating. They had 10 people show up. Miss Terry from Cain's goes over, shows them how to do it. Those two entrances look beautiful, and if it wasn't for these people and taking pride in our community, it wouldn't look like that, and I think it's a big deal that people get involved in our community. When you drive around the city, if you have not noticed that this city is cleaner today than it was 3.5 months ago, you got blinders on. It is a lot cleaner than it was, and it's just a work in progress. And I want to thank the administration for making sure that we're going to get Kenner clean again. It's already it's being noticed. Only one other thing that bothers me is people keep putting stuff on medians and neutral grounds. There's a sofa in a ottoman sitting on Chateau Boulevard, and I don't understand why people think that we're their maids and have to pick this stuff up. It just makes no sense. Put it in front of your house, the garbage will pick it up. We start putting it on the medians, it creates a nuisance. So I would ask the residents to please keep your garbage on your side. If you have bulky stuff, there's a process to be able to pick this up by our trash collector, Ivy Waste. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Anything?
Item 18 is new business. We have none. Item 19 is unfinished business and a motions to reconsider or remove from a tabled position. We have none. Item 20 is persons wishing to address the council on special subject matters.
Yes, introduce your name, your address, and you have 3 minutes.
Al Morella, 4260 East Loyola Drive, 5th District, 50 years. I want to revisit the topic that I talked about at the last meeting in here. This concerns 2 agendas from April 17, 2020 and May 7, 2020. And I talked to our employee, the council president here, Councilwoman McKinney, and she wouldn't allow another one of our employees, the council clerk over there, to read this in the record, citing that it was already read into the record 2 years ago. So I'm going to read it in the record, okay? April 17, item 13C was to suspend Rule 43 and adopt Rule 54 through 57 concerning emergency declarations. The motion was put on the floor by you, Councilwoman McKinney, and it was seconded by you, Councilman Brannigan. On that same agenda, first reading, didn't require a vote. 16A, 16B, 16C, and 16D was to authorize an agreement with 3 contractors to do work post items. It was DRC, Tech Debris or Debris Tech, and Series Environmental. Then on May 7th, it came up for a vote. It was 15A, 15B, 15C, and 15D. 15A and 15B was to award a contract to DRC. DRC was the one who furnished these portalettes that was in question with the $78,000 a month plus. Okay? 15A, the motion was put on the floor by Councilman Brannigan, and it was seconded by Councilman Brennan. 15B was put on the floor by then Councilman Segura, and seconded by Councilman Brennan. 15C was put on the floor by Councilman Brannigan and seconded by Councilman Brennan. 15D was put on the floor by then Councilman Segura and seconded by Councilman Brennan. So that's all I have to say on that topic. Next topic. Mr. Torres was in the news about a month ago, 2 articles in the Advocate. One, where he had to pay his workers $105,000 in back pay for overtime that he tried to take from them, violating the Federal Fair Labor Standards Act. Second, he's in the news again, being accused of lowballing, contracting the city of New Orleans. So what I want to say to this council and to this administration, given this track record, we need to stay on top of what's going on with that contract in the city of Kenner and evaluate it on a routine basis.
And we're doing that. Thank you, Mr. Morella. Your time is up.
Thank you very much. Anybody got any comments, any questions?
Yes, Mr. Brannigan, Councilman Brannigan.
Mr. Morella, I was on a couple of these ordinances, and I guess I'm trying to figure out what you're trying to achieve by saying that, you know, this stuff was put in place. I mean, what is the goal of that statement? I guess that when I read the ordinance from May the 7th, the only thing that they should have had in this, they got section 1, the mayor is authorized to negotiate and execute an agreement with DRC Emergency Services in accordance with the request for proposal number 206535. Section 2 says the mayor of the city of Canton is authorized and empowered to sign any and all documents as may be necessary to give this ordinance full force and effect. So we give the administration, the mayor and the administration, authorization to an emergency contract, because without that, we're dead in the water when a hurricane hits. So I don't know what your point is, but I think that the only thing that could have been added is Section 3. The mayor and his administration are responsible for the administration of the contract and will report to the council every 2 weeks for the cumulative totals spent for each service provided by that contractor. I don't know where you're going with this, but 12 months at $78,000 is over $900,000, and this is not a contract that is designed to last for 12 months. That is on the administration to monitor and get the thing in and out as fast as they can get it in and out. So I don't know what your point is, what you're trying to accomplish here, but it seems to me that you're trying to suck the council into what was spent on these portalets that should have been shooting gold bricks and $100 bills out the other end, okay? And that is not the way it works, especially when you look at $32 million was spent on hurricane recovery, and not one red cent was brought before this council to be monitored or authorized until the trucks came up, and I started questioning them back in October, and then all of a sudden we started getting a report showing everything jumbled up with all the expenses. $32 million was spent without this council authorizing. I don't know where you're going with this, what you're trying to do, but it is the administration's responsibility to monitor the expenses and how your tax dollars are spent.
Thank you, Councilman Brannigan. Councilman Brennan?
And to that point, we approved the contract. We didn't approve numbers. And regardless if we needed, this was the only toilet company in North America or on the continent, at some point, it seems like somebody should have said, this is a bit excessive, and we may need to rethink this. So again, we've approved the contracts. I have all the faith in the world going forward that this isn't going to happen again, because I think the administration that's in place will be doing a much better job of watching the nickels and dimes as they have since being elected.
Thank you, Councilman Brennan.
Can I respond to that?
I'm sorry, your 3 minutes is up.
That's fine. Next meeting, 3 more minutes, Councilwoman.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Bill Fulham, if you can approach, state your name and your address.
I'm here because Ida did a trip on my driveway, and Terry, my next door neighbor's driveway. It destroyed mine completely. It damaged his. I got pictures to prove it. According to Joey, City of Canton is not responsible for repairing my driveway. If anybody wants to see him, it's a jigsaw puzzle. It's broken up good, okay? All I'm here is to want to get what is fair for us to get these repairs done. Joey says you're not responsible. As far as I'm concerned, it's the City of Canton. They're responsible. And not trying to be a smartass, this is not the City of New Orleans, okay?
Let me add something to what Bill is saying. A few years ago, one of your previous District 3 council members showed up at Bill's house, notified him that the tree that was out by his driveway was termite ridden and would need to come down. And Bill said, I don't want my tree to come down. And the council member, speaking for Kenner, said that tree belongs to Kenner because it's on the servitude. And we've decided it needs to be taken down. About 6 months to a year later, the same tree magically was no longer termite ridden. And we were told that it wouldn't be taken down. Then Ida comes, blows the tree down, pulls up his driveway, crashes mine in. We've worked with 2 previous District 3 council members to get it replaced. And we were told they're working on it, they're working on it, they're working on it. And then finally, we were told, Mr. Lahat, when he was trying to get voted in, came over and saw the driveway, and he said, I'm going to work on that too. Then all of a sudden, we're told that the same tree that Kenner said belonged to them, and they had the right to tear it down, was no longer their tree, but belonged to Mr. Fulham. And that's taken a year of a broken driveway, 2 broken driveways. And all we need to find out is, how can it be Kenner's property one minute and no longer their property the next when it creates damage? All he's looking for is somebody to replace the driveways.
That's it, gentlemen. I got pictures. Anybody want them?
Hey, Bill, let me, Terry, you too, let me respond to you. Thanks for coming today. And Bill, I told you yesterday on the phone, I think it was healthy that you did come today. The history of your driveway, so in fairness to you, the last year you've been talking back and forth with the parish of Jefferson. I've reviewed all those emails between you and I believe Mike Quigley about trying to get your driveway done. I think someone cited some type of FEMA statute that we're going to try to get your driveway replaced from the hurricane damage. So I reviewed it all. It was a long list of long email train trying to get to the bottom of who was responsible. And you've been waiting a long time. No, I don't disagree with that, and you, Terry, as well. So I know that. This issue just materialized for me about 6 weeks ago, I think. I'm not going to be itemized as to what the week. So about 6 weeks ago, this came to my attention. Jefferson said they cannot do anything because it was a city of Kenner property. So in the limited time I've had, I have looked into it. Look, I don't know remember the exact conversation we had when I was out there on the campaign trail, and like I might have said that. I might have said I was going to check into it. Every time someone calls me, I do say I'm going to check into it. There's no doubt in my mind. Stephanie, my assistant, we respond. Since I've investigated this, I've talked with the mayor's office, and they are doing the same thing. And Amy was the co-director at Jefferson. We've been talking with this back and forth as well. And I try to find a way to help you. I've been told that the councilmanic funds I have, I cannot use to replace a private property. A driveway is a private property. I agree that the servitude is the city of Kenner property on the other side where the tree was located. The history of the tree with the termites and prior councilmen, I have no idea about that history, Terry. I don't know what was said to you back then. I can't speak for that. I have no email train to evaluate that, so I can't speak to the termite or what someone told you back then. All I can go is what I do legally. I'm an attorney as well, so I try to review all codes I can in municipal codes and ordinances. I cannot find a way to use Kenner money to help you here. It's illegal by code. If someone has any difference, because I've only been in office 3 months, if there's a different way to approach this, if there's a way to get FEMA to pay for it, I would love to do that. I don't see a way to do it. And look, I'm glad you came today, because I know you're upset. I know you're both upset. I think it's healthy for citizens to do this. If anybody has any other opinion, that's just everything that I've investigated since I was made aware of this 6 weeks ago. And this has been a year-long thing for you. It's a short thing for me. So if there's something else, look, I'm happy to look into it for you. But I don't know how I can help you with this.
The problem is we can't proceed or do anything because we're waiting for you guys to respond. We don't know what the alternatives are right now because we're told Kenner was going to look into it. Kenner was going to look into it. And now it's a year. And Bill's not getting any younger.
No.
When he tries to get out of his car, it's a challenge. I get out of my truck. I got to hold onto the truck. Otherwise, I'm going to end up laying on the ground trying to walk.
So a lot of people with hurricane claims, their homeowners carriers pay for pools, driveways, things like that happen from falling debris. I do those type of claims, so I know that does occur. I think you told me you made an insurance claim, but it wasn't enough to make the claim. It was below your deductible, so you're kind of stuck on that. I get it. If anybody has any other ideas on y'all's side, Amy, I know we briefly spoke about this, but
don't, basically what you stated is the case at this point. I know that you and I have discussed extensively, and Mr. Quigley, I think there was some confusion with regard to the ordinances that Jefferson Parish has.
Correct.
With regard to reimbursement with FEMA. Our ordinance is different from theirs with regard to the servitudes and sidewalks. Although they are city property, they're to be maintained by that property owner.
Okay,
Well, we're maintaining the property, we just can't get to our property.
yeah.
I gotta mention something. Powell Boulevard from, what's that, West Esplanade down? I can't think of that. Henry Shane put all that stuff up there, right? Some trees were torn down from the hurricane. Who's repairing to get the trees back up?
That's,
Ain't me.
On the parkway?
Somebody, you gotta put all those trees back up? You're gonna widen that, walking path from 6 feet to 12 feet? Who's paying for all that?
Amy, I can answer that question. If you're talking about the Power Boulevard project, the median project that calls for the widening of a bypass pedestrian pass, okay, that's a federal aid project, 80-20, 80% federal money, 20% local money, that dates back maybe 7 or 8 years. Hopefully, it will go to construction probably in the early part of next year. Not only are we widening the pass, part of the project is to include lighting and landscaping. So if any of the trees need to be removed as a result of that project, there will be additional landscape that's going to be part of the project to supplement for whatever comes down.
And the federal government's paying for that?
Federal money is going to be 80%. The construction money, 80% federal money. It was programmed into the federal aid urban system probably back in 2014-15. And we have been waiting all this time to get this project into construction. Yes, 80% federal money, 20% local match.
I'll take 5%.
Thank you.
I wish. Hey, Chief.
Thank you. Councilman Wilmot?
With regard to that issue we were just discussing, from a legal standpoint, they have trees on the servitudes of the homeowners, and in this case, even so, who is technically the owner of those trees? Is it the city or is it the homeowner?
If it's
Mr.
on the
Powers?
city property, it belongs to the city.
So,
However, there's been a long history of people planting things within the berm between the back of the curb and the sidewalk. And the city cannot possibly enforce cutting down every single tree within the city that is on the city's property that was not planted by the city. Mr. Gonzalez has told me that the cost is beyond the city's budget to be able to do that. But the fact that the gentleman's insurance company refused to pay it because his deductible doesn't cover it doesn't excuse his responsibility. I'm saying that just because his deductible doesn't cover, his policy doesn't cover it because the deductible is so high. I don't understand the relationship between, I can't say, well, it must be somebody else's fault because my insurance company won't pay for it. And that's not what they're saying. They're saying they haven't denied a claim. They've denied that his deductible will cover it. I don't know if I'm making myself clear. I don't know what his deductible is, but if it costs $10,000 to replace the driveway and his deductible is $12,000, that doesn't mean the insurance company denied the claim. They just said that you don't meet your deductible. That's not quite the same thing. Now, I don't know that I haven't seen the pictures. I haven't done any personal investigation of this. I know the issue has come up in a number of instances since Ida, all over the city in different locations. And each one is totally different from the one down the street as to where the tree is, who planted the tree, what damage the tree caused. I'll be happy to investigate it, but I can't make any promises that the city is forbidden from spending public funds on private property. If we were sued in order to do it by a court, we would have to do it. I'll put it that way.
So it's a case-by-case basis then?
Sir?
It's a case-by-case basis.
Yes, it is.
Depending on the facts.
Yes.
All right, I guess that answers that. Thank you.
Bill, make sure to leave your picture so I can take a look at them. Oh, they're right in front of us. Okay. So who threw these here? Okay.
Thank you, Chief Conley, as being Vanna.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Hey, I compared you to Vanna White. That's nicer.
I need a coffee, too.
Okay, thank you. The next on the list is Terry Hart. Oh, okay, so that was together. Okay, perfect. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, yes. Yes, so you can approach and state your name, and you have 3 minutes.
Yes. My name is Earl Smith, and I reside at 613 Hanson Avenue in Kenner. And I don't have a real big issue here, but one is an explanation of responsibility. We have huge grass that grows on the railroad track and on some part of someone's property. And I just wanted clarification, or we want clarification, that's for the Old Kenner Civics Association and myself, to find out who's actually responsible for cutting the grass that grows up on the side of the railroad track and on the side of the ditch proceeding from the railroad track. Because the grass is that high or maybe higher, and it obstructs the view. And sometimes someone cuts it, and then another that doesn't. When you ask the city who's responsible for it, they say, well, we're not responsible for it, the parish is responsible. You ask the parish, and the parish say, well, it's the city responsibility. So just for the benefit of the neighbors, we'd like for the city to give us, Old Kenner Civics Association, and our council lady, give us some explanation as to who is actually responsible for doing that. So when we call to make a complaint, we know who's responsible. Obviously, I've been living over there for 40-plus years, and we still haven't found out actually who's really responsible for that. And that's what my request is, and that information can be provided to our general counsel later, Sister Councilperson Dunn. Reverend. Okay, Reverend Dunn, I'm sorry. Or to the Old Kenner Civics Association president, and that's Evelyn.
Well, Mr. Earl, I was going to answer, but Jose thinks he can answer it better than me, so he's going to answer it.
With a different accent, though.
Where is he? Oh.
The parish is definitely not responsible for maintaining the grass along the railroad tracks. The city is responsible for maintaining that grass. You know, we would like for the railroad to maintain that grass, but that's not going to happen. So the city is responsible. I got your address, and we're moving towards that goal. You know, we're dealing with a new administration, new personnel. We're aware of the problems, and we're going to handle them.
Now, are you talking about the tracks in Hanson?
Yes.
Yes, because I passed it the other day, and it doesn't look like anybody cuts it.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, so.
I went out and cut on our side, just to not block my view. I wanted to say that the Hanson Street going across the track is in horrible shape. And there's going to probably be a liability claim.
Well, I said I would doing it last week, but I signed a letter today to, what is it, Congressman Troy Carter, because the federal government regulates the railroad, and we figure that he can get their attention. Okay. Mr. Mike Powers sent a letter to the railroad themselves, and we were told that they ordered material.
We appreciate it.
That's about it. So
Thank you.
we're trying to get it done. We know they're horrible, every one of them.
It was specifically Hanson and Hollandy
Yes.
that we asked the railroad to replace the crossings.
Right.
They told us that they had ordered the materials and that they'll get to it when they get to it.
Oh, okay.
The railroad is not real
Okay.
responsive.
But I understand. So the other thing is I want to congratulate the new administration for getting on some things that need to be done. One is to kind of clean up and cut the grass at the Bessie Hammond Park. And also there's someone that started to dump their trash across the street from that again. It's been cleaned up. So I don't know how, someone else mentioned that. How do you deal with having people come along and dump their trees, their couches, chairs, and everything else on the side of the park, even on the street where I live? We thought about putting a camera up there, but we're going to check with the Kenner Police Department about that, so we can identify who's actually doing that. That's it for me.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
And thank you very much.
Yes, and obviously from Councilman Brannigan. Yes. Oh, and obviously from Councilman Brannigan, you're saying that unfortunately people dump in Chateau and everywhere, so it's an issue throughout the city. Yes, Councilman Dunn.
Yes, thank you, Council President. Mr. Smith, we thank you once again for coming and addressing the council. We do have the tickets on there as far as the grass and things of that nature. I thank Jose for addressing that. Every time we get a call in, that's why we ask you all to call or to email us. We do make a ticket to see where the progress is. We know that that's a problem. Not only that, we've had some callers calling in and saying, well, you know, the grass has been sprayed, but then the ditches are not clean. So we understand that. So we do go out and we do look at the issues so we know what you're talking about. But just give us a little patience, be a little patient with us, and we will get to it. Now, as far as the parks and things of that nature, you know and I know that they have been cleaned well, because that was one of the first issues we had to do, was to get into the district and start cleaning up. Now with your association, we're going to have to start holding the residents, not holding them, but at least talking to them about all of this trash dumping. Why I'm saying that, because the other night at Night Out Against Crime, we all talked about how nice the parks were. But again, you know, the residents or some people, we're just going to have you all to help us, to talk with the neighbors and things of that nature as far as keeping this stuff up. The city is doing their job, there's no doubt about that. But it's the people, and it's not only in District 1, trust me. It's all, I've spoken with Councilman Schwartz and some of the others. They're having the same problem, where we have cleaned up, or the city have cleaned up, and residents go back out and dump. Even on 31st, I saw a mattress the other day. That's heartbreaking. So we're going to try to see if we can come up with a plan to stop that dumping, because it's sad. It's not the city, because the city doing their job, but it's the residents that's coming up and doing that. So thank you once again for addressing the council.
Thank you, Councilmember Dunn. Anyone else to speak? Yes, if you could state your name, your address, and you have 3 minutes.
How you doing? My name is John Dennis, and I live at 4608 Janice Avenue, and some of you actually know me. I've talked to quite a few of you. Okay, we have an issue with the property behind my fence, which actually backs up to Powell Boulevard, which is actually affecting 4 properties right there in that particular area. And Amy actually came out a couple weeks ago, and nothing got resolved. So now I'm here today.
Are you?
So I'm trying to figure out what's gonna happen here. We
I
have
think.
pictures, we have proof. I mean, I just had to, replace a fence because, the property is sunk on the right-of-way between Power and, my property. So basically, it cracked up my retaining wall and started, going towards Power, just like the neighbor's fence is.
John,
So what we're trying to figure out is, are y'all going to actually fix this issue?
Well, okay, so they're not going to be a back and forth, so if you can finish speaking, and then we're going to let them respond, and then we'll.
Yeah, because, at this point, I've talked to quite a few of y'all. Quite a few of y'all actually know me at this point, because I contacted almost every one of y'all offices, Yes, I'm a little shook up. I'm trying to keep calm, because some of y'all actually know how rowdy y'all do get. And so But the problem is, you know, it's the right of way. Okay, it's actually sinking. It's causing damages to our properties. So, go ahead.
Okay, you're finished?
I'm finished.
Okay, Councilman Lahatz?
Yeah, John, I remember speaking to you, and there's a lot of people inside of Kenner government that have discussed your situation. Amy, who was a Jefferson Parish Co-Director and now is ILCCAO with Kenner, she came out personally, so I'm going to let her kind of lead as to what her diagnosis of the situation is. I think that's the healthiest thing to do here.
Okay.
If that's okay with you, Amy? Okay.
Ms. Vallow?
Hi. This actually, I believe, his complaints go back some time. There's issues with regard to a sidewalk that needed to be replaced. He had some ponding in the street. I believe that we had representatives from both field services and public works go out there. They ran tests through drains to see what was going on. Additionally, when you view the rear of his property, the building code indicates that you must drain from the rear to the front. At this point in time, he's draining from the middle of the house to the rear of the property. He had a retaining wall in there at one point. I suspect maybe it was possibly taken down. I'm not going to make a conclusion as to why he took the retaining wall. It may have been because he was still holding water because he's low in the rear. So these issues were discussed with him in detail. I went into his rear of his yard. There was issues, with the front of the yard. I spoke with his neighbor as well regarding the sidewalk that was being replaced. I'm waiting for a rain event so that we can see whether or not there's any ponding in that area. There was some concern with regard to that. But I've addressed as much as I possibly can with regard to his issues. He's not satisfied with my responses regarding that.
Can I speak?
Do you have anything? No, actually, I mean, you gave up the rest of your time.
Okay.
So if you'd like to speak, after the meeting, I'll be able to listen, but unfortunately, your time is up.
Okay. So nothing's getting done once again.
Okay, thank you. I have a motion anyone else from the public? Motion to adjourn?